He was a ghost, a whisper in the night, a man who could disappear into thin air, leaving behind only a trail of shattered lives. His name was Gary Johnson, but the world would come to know him as the Hitman. His crimes, as chilling as they were numerous, sent shockwaves through the nation. He was a phantom, a predator, a puzzle that law enforcement struggled to piece together. Johnson's story wasn't one you'd find in a Hollywood script. This wasn't some fictional villain with a tragic backstory. This was real life with real victims and real consequences. His ability to blend in, to appear utterly ordinary, made him even more terrifying. Behind the facade of normalcy lurked a darkness that few could have imagined. He was a master manipulator, a chameleon who could adapt to any situation. To the outside world, he was just another face in the crowd, but behind closed doors, a sinister transformation took place. He was a man of contradictions, capable of great charm and unspeakable cruelty. His story is a chilling reminder that monsters often hide in plain sight, their true nature concealed behind a carefully constructed mask of sanity. Gary Johnson wasn't born a monster. His descent into darkness was a gradual one, fueled by a childhood marred by poverty and neglect. Growing up in the impoverished underbelly of Los Angeles, he witnessed firsthand the brutal realities of life on the streets. Violence was a constant companion, a grim spectacle that played out on street corners and in dimly lit alleyways. Home offered little solace. His parents, struggling to make ends meet, were often absent, leaving Johnson and his siblings to fend for themselves. He learned to navigate the treacherous landscape of his neighborhood, hardening himself to the suffering that surrounded him. Survival became his only priority, and in his pursuit of it, he began to shut off his emotions, burying his empathy deep within. As he grew older, his brushes with the law became more frequent. Petty theft gave way to more serious offenses, each transgression pushing him further down a path of no return. He became desensitized to the consequences of his actions, his conscience dulled by years of hardship and indifference. The boy who had once yearned for a better life was slowly morphing into the man the world would come to fear. Detective Sarah Jones had been on the force for over a decade, but even she was taken aback by the sheer brutality of the crimes linked to the elusive hitman. Each murder was meticulously planned, executed with chilling precision. There were no witnesses, no forced entries, no signs of a struggle. It was as if the victims had willingly invited their executioner into their homes. Jones and her team worked tirelessly, following every lead, however tenuous. They pored over hours of surveillance footage, interviewed countless witnesses, and painstakingly pieced together the fragments of a shattered puzzle. The pressure was immense, the weight of public expectation bearing down on them with each passing day. But Jones refused to give up. She knew that somewhere out there, hidden amongst the city's millions, was a killer who needed to be stopped. Then came the breakthrough they had been waiting for. A fingerprint lifted from a seemingly insignificant object at one of the crime scenes provided a crucial link. The prints matched those of Gary Johnson, a small-time crook with a history of violence. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, a clearer picture of Johnson emerged. He wasn't some criminal mastermind, he was a chameleon, blending seamlessly into his surroundings, his victims none the wiser until it was too late. Section 4. Netflix and true crime, a double-edged sword. The true crime genre has exploded in recent years, with streaming platforms like Netflix serving up a steady diet of documentaries and docuseries that delve into the darkest corners of human nature. These shows often provide a captivating glimpse into the minds of criminals, exploring their motives, their methods, and the impact of their crimes on their victims. However, this fascination with true crime has also sparked a debate about the ethics of profiting from real-life tragedies. Critics argue that these shows often sensationalize violence, turning killers into anti-heroes and reducing their victims to mere plot points. There's a fine line between raising awareness about important issues and exploiting the suffering of others for entertainment value. The families of victims often feel re-traumatized by the constant media attention, forced to relive their pain as their loved one's story is dissected and rehashed for public consumption. On the other hand, proponents of the genre argue that true crime can serve as a valuable tool for education and understanding. By shedding light on the complexities of criminal behavior, these shows can help us to better understand the factors that contribute to violence and hopefully prevent future tragedies. They can also give a voice to the voiceless, ensuring that the stories of the victims are not forgotten. The key, it seems, lies in finding the right balance between entertainment and sensitivity, between satisfying our curiosity and respecting the memory of those who have been lost. Section 5. The human element. It's easy to view criminals like Gary Johnson as monsters, as aberrations of nature. But it's important to remember that even the most hardened criminals were once innocent children, shaped by their experiences and the circumstances of their lives. This doesn't excuse their actions, but it does force us to confront the uncomfortable truth that evil is not always born. Sometimes it's made. In the case of Gary Johnson, his crimes sent ripples of pain and suffering throughout the lives of countless individuals. Families were torn apart, futures were stolen, and a sense of security was shattered. The impact of his actions extended far beyond the immediate victims, leaving an indelible mark on the community and society as a whole. But amidst the darkness, there were also glimmers of hope. The tireless efforts of law enforcement, the unwavering support of loved ones, and the resilience of the human spirit all served as reminders that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, there is always light to be found. The story of Gary Johnson, the hitman, is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked violence. It's a story that challenges us to confront the darkness within ourselves and to strive to create a world where such horrors are unthinkable.